Time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and it's time to catch up with something new. It's not something old, something barred, or something blue, but it is something new. Actually, it is something blue, now that I come to think about it. So we're 2 of the 4 when it comes to hanging out for those 4 particular ideas. Catching up with Dr. Alex Yee, part of the new Annapolis NPSL franchise that's coming on board in 2023. Doc, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1 to give the folks the 4-1-1, as the kids say.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. You know, I should have told you this earlier, but I'm not a doctor. My email is the MD is for Maryland. So yeah, so I get everybody on that one. You know, so I did it tactically, and I noticed, you know, on our Twitter handle that, you know, it also says I'm an MLS star. So that's 0 for 2, you know, so I played in the MLS and I'm not a doctor.
But you are MD. So MD's Maryland. You got it. Good
That's
call.
correct. That's
all right.
Correct.
So for those that don't know your background, as we lead into Annapolis in and of itself, you mentioned your MLS days, and it was in Dallas, if memory serves.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. And Michael Hitchcock was my general manager. So I came to MLS FC Dallas in 2005 via weighted lottery. I was playing the previous seasons in Belgium at Royal Antwerp. And it was one of those, like right around qualifications for the 2004 World Cup, and you know, really wanted to be a part of that. And yeah, speaking with guys at US Soccer, my coach at the time, and we felt that, you know, coming back to MLS was the right move for me. So, you know, luckily I landed at FC Dallas with Hitch.
So why get into the sports franchise business? I know that this is something that, for those that follow Hitch and know his history, he is in the franchise development business, and he's done it at a bunch of different levels. And to see the growth of the game with what he's been able to do, why take this step in your love of soccer? Why? How did this come to pass?
Well, I think it was actually a really perfect storm. You know, Hitch being in the business of creating these franchises successfully, and you know, growing up in Maryland in 2018, I actually moved back to Annapolis, Maryland, and was an assistant under Tim O'Donoghue at the Naval Academy men's soccer program. And you know, Hitch and I had kept in touch over the years, and we felt that Annapolis was one of those niche markets that would really kind of come around and support a local team. And for me, on a personal level, it was, you know, I left Maryland at such a young age. You know, I left Maryland at 16, 17, went down to Florida, and then from Florida just went out to California for college. So, and then from there, it just kind of, you know, was Europe and blah, blah, blah. But I never felt that I had done enough for the community that I grew up in. And, you know, when you're kind of out of sight, you're out of mind. So I feel like more people in California think I'm from California than people in Maryland think I'm from Maryland. And that kind of bothered me a little bit, as I was kind of in my 30s. So this was a perfect opportunity, you know, Hitch being involved in that, and me kind of relocating to Annapolis for a little bit. I felt like, hey, this is something that could really impact the community. And I think about, you know, my childhood friends that I went to country school with in Easton, them being able to take their kids to the game, my dad being able to take his grandkids to the game. It's just, it's really, really awesome, and an awesome town that deserves a little soccer team there.
For those that don't know the impact that the sport has there in that footprint, can you break that down for those that don't know what it means to Annapolis and to Maryland and to where you grew up? What is it? What is the sport like there?
Oh my gosh, John, that's an awesome question, because, you know, that's actually what Kyle and I were talking about just now, as we prepare to do these interviews, you know, and it was all about wanting to share our personal stories. And just to paint you a picture, John, my dad, you know, growing up in Eastern Maryland, we would drive an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes to College Park to watch my childhood idols growing up. It was like Russell Payne at Maryland, Steve Armis, who's now the associate head coach at Wake Forest. But we would go to soccer camps, meet these guys, and then in the fall, like watch them play. And they were like heroes of ours. And my dad and we would drive to Charlottesville, Virginia and watch AJ Wood. AJ's the reason why I went to Georgetown Prep. So, as a kid, you're so impressionable, you just want like heroes, and you want these positive influences in your life. And I couldn't get enough as a kid. So, I just think about those guys on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, who are like myself and my dad, who dream of playing soccer on the Western Shore, right? Like the Western Shore was like the big thing where I was growing up. But, if we can, have a player from Georgetown or Maryland or all those great programs that we have near Naval Academy, all those great programs we have near Annapolis, and they can be an influence on these kids growing up around that area, that's what it's all about for us. And that was my personal journey. Like if it weren't for those guys and Sash having a great program at Maryland and George having a great program and Bruce having a great program at Virginia, those were our heroes.
So why the NPSL?
It's, that's a great question. The NPSL is a great step for college student athletes to play in the summer at a competitive level, in a great city. And it's a proven model, John. It's a proven model. We've got, I believe, when Hitch and we were talking about the NPSL, I believe there's somewhere around 33 NPSL alumni who are now playing in Major League Soccer. Ben Bender, a local Maryland kid who's a Terp at Charlotte FC, now number 1 pick, is an NPSL alum. And, not just those guys in the MLS, but we have guys that have graduated from NPSL in the USL Championship, in USL 1, in NISA. So for us, it's a logical just kind of step in that evolution for these guys in the US soccer pyramid.
How much thought went into this? Because I know that Hitch has done this for a while, and he has his thought processes, and he has his whiteboard. And I've talked to Hitch in the past doing these things. It's either something that you keep on your phone. It's it could be legal pad. It could be the big 5 by 10 foot whiteboard off to the side, as you and I are talking here, that you sit there with dry erase marker, and you're like, okay, I've got like 9 different lists. You cross something off. It could be the thing that's got the magnet that's attached to your fridge that you sit there at 2:30 in the morning and you've got an idea as you're sitting there and you're getting water in the middle of the night. How much thought went into this for you? Because building something with the legacy that you want to have is not something to step into lightly. How much thought went into this?
A lot. A lot. So exactly the picture that you painted, the whiteboards, it's been bi-weekly Zoom meetings with Hitch and all of us and his team of guys and our local contacts in the area. Brent Boone, who's a massive friend of the Naval Academy men's soccer program and a massive friend just in general, who's been awesome. So there's been a ton of thought that goes into this, John. There's been a lot of, I'll tell you, I'll hear my phone ding at like 1 a.m. and it's Hitch with a brilliant idea, or it's Brent with, another brilliant idea. How invested these guys are to the Annapolis, NPSL club is phenomenal. A lot of thought has gone into it, and a lot of thought continues to. We've got a great team in place. Hitch has brought a great group of guys together to really get this thing going.
And there's another guy who's known for his defense that is part and parcel of this too, with Kyle Beckerman. That's not a name that you normally. It's like, okay, the press release comes out and you see Kyle Beckerman's name attached to it. Like, okay, that's a new one. How did Beckerman get attached to this project?
Well, Kyle, Kyle's from Crofton, Maryland, and as a kid, Kyle used to go to the Navy soccer camps. And so he's got a lot of roots in the area. And when he kind of had overheard me kind of talking about it, he just got more and more curious about, he's like, what's NPS? Because he's just removed from playing, and doesn't really get like the alpha, just all the different levels there are in US soccer. And so I just kind of explained to him, what was going on and what were the reasons behind why I wanted to get involved with Hitch and Annapolis. And he was he was just on board right away. He thought it was an awesome idea. And Hitch was super excited that we could bring, someone like Kyle into this. And he's super excited, which like kind of excites me and Hitch, so Kyle's all in and kind of the same boat. He wants to give back to Maryland. He wants to give back to the area that he grew up in and make it an awesome experience for these players and for the fans that come and watch.
And with you and Kyle as ex-players and building something, you want to have a solid spine. You want to have a solid spine with your lineup to make sure that everything is okay when you get out there for the first time. When you've been building this, understanding, I guess, the self-responsibility, the self-pressure that's attached to having this kind of a legacy deal. When you think about it, I mean, what is your crystal ball idea, say 5 years down the line? How would you like to see this continue to grow and evolve with all of these pieces that are in place to help build the spine to have the jumping off point in 23? But what's the legacy that you want to leave behind for something like this?
I think as a club, what do we want to do is we want to provide, our fans, a product and something that they're really proud of, and they can band together and come and enjoy a good soccer game in the summer in Annapolis. For the players, again, it's about creating another, another place for them to play, during the summertime when they're off and in between college seasons. In terms of legacy for us, to be honest, John, I haven't really thought about that.
Well, I know, because things are just starting. I know.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, but at the same time, I know that you have a vision. I know somewhere on those dry erase boards or in your hip pocket or somewhere, you have that. You've got a vision. I'm fairly certain as to how you want things to start and then continue to grow, knowing what you've seen and what you've been a part of when it comes to growth in that area. I mean, it's an opportunity for you really to plant your flag for the future for the sport in this way with the NPSL, I would think.
Sure. Yeah. I haven't really given a whole lot of thought to that, John, just in terms of like legacy and what this can be in 5 years. My focus, and this is just me, I don't know about Hitch or Kyle, but my focus is just, getting it launched in 2023 and just taking it day by day. And just taking it day by day, year by year, season by season, supporting the coaching staff, whoever's in there, and trying to give them whatever they need to put a competitive team on the field. In terms of vision and NPSL and like what, the question that you asked is like, planting a flag in the NPSL and where can this go? Who knows? Who knows where that's going to be in 5 years? My thing right now is I want to dial in the stadium that we're going to play in next year. I want to dial in kind of just our fan base and just interacting with them and just making sure that their experience is good and the players have a good experience, so that's just kind of where my vision's at right now, John.
Because you can't, you and I both know that as you're building something from the ground up, there are things on that dry erase board, that mythical dry erase board we've been talking about, that you can cross off and sit there and go, okay, we've got this taken care of, this taken care of, and this taken care of. But 2023, the season in and of itself, is not just a year away. It's less than a year away because of all of these steps that you have to take. Everybody sits there and says, oh, great, they're announcing for next season. But next season really starts now because of all of these building blocks you have to put in place.
Right. Right.
When you
Absolutely.
when you think about all of these things, what's you mentioned, because you've been reading my notes, obviously, when it comes to all of the questions I want to ask you. What's the next thing on that to-do list that you think you can check off?
The next thing we can do to check off.
Because you mentioned stadium, you mentioned players, you mentioned all these kinds of things. Is there that one thing that you can sit there and go, yeah, I think we're close enough? That's a big thing that we can mark off the list.
For me personally, I think it would be if we can help develop in some sort of way the next Ben Bender or the next Kyle Beckerman. You know, if we can have an Annapolis alum who makes it an MLS and makes an impact on MLS, for me, that would be the next thing. The next progression for me, being a part of this project, that would give me a lot of satisfaction, John, would be seeing if we can provide the next Ben Bender or the next Kyle Beckerman a great environment to play, a great coaching staff to learn from, and to develop for the next phase of his career.
Alex G, part of the ownership group of the new Annapolis franchise in the NPSL, hanging out with us for a soccer down here 1v1. So then let me ask you this. When it comes to coaching philosophy and the individuals that you want to bring in, I know that in your mind, you have a particular individuals in mind to represent the Annapolis club and be those faces that are going to be presenting this vision and these ideas about what it means to be a part of Annapolis and the NPSL. When it comes to those individuals, what kind of individuals are you looking for, whether front office coaching or players, not just ability, not ability-wise, mind you, but philosophically between the ears? What kind of folks are you looking for?
Yeah, I think, if we're talking about culture, I think that's a massive piece of having Kyle a part of this franchise. Everyone knows who's a fan of Kyle and has watched MLS and the national team throughout the years in Real Salt Lake, what kind of, culture and leadership, Kyle brings to a franchise. And I think that's it. Even with Utah Valley, where Kyle's the head coach and I'm his assistant coach, Kyle only has one rule for the whole program. This goes from top to bottom. And that number one rule is to be a good person. We don't, we're not big on making guys do this or this or this. So I think that we would want that kind of same mentality to filter into anything that we're a part of, John. And that's, we want anyone who's associated with Annapolis to first and foremost be a good person and to represent themselves and whoever they represent, if it's Annapolis or if it's anyone else, in a really good way, to the community. So, those are the kind of people that we want involved. Players, obviously, we want good, talented players, good people. And guys that want to engage in the community, guys that care about where they're from, guys who care about the shirt that they wear and wanting to make the people who spend their hard-earned dollars to feel proud of what they have, to cheer for. So, to answer your question, I think it's good people, good work ethic, team first mentality. That's what we're all about.
Have you ever thought of yourself as a builder? I mean, because there are folks who have certain philosophies in life. There are those who are managers, those who are builders, those who are dreamers, those kinds of things. Have you always thought of yourself as a builder, or was this an opportunity for building to be added to who you are as an individual?
Yeah, I think for me personally, John, I think that dreamer role was for somebody else. I think more Hitch. I'm more of I just want to help. That's my mentality. Is I'm a helper. I really want to assist. I really want to make guys feel as comfortable as they can possibly be and feel safe in a certain environment to really maximize their potential and just want to work for the group. So, I would say my role is I just want to help Hitch, being a local guy and connecting him with local people in Annapolis. And that's just kind of my role in what I'm doing for the club. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a builder. I don't think I take those risks like that with Hitch. Hitch is perfect, and that's why I think this ownership group is perfect, because we all bring a little something different to the table. And what really connects us, though, is that we want to give to our community, and really see a successful product in Annapolis.
Nothing like being a facilitator and a good point guard, because you sit there and it's like, all right, you sit there and make sure that the pass is there and it's complete. You're building out of the back. All right, pass to the next level.
Yeah, exactly.
Score. No, I get that completely. So one of the other things before you go, I wanted to get into was the idea, and you mentioned getting the community involved, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a choice of 4 when it comes to figuring out what the team name might be, because I've seen some logos out there and I've seen some stuff that have anchors attached to it. So what's the latest with helping figure out what the name of the franchise is going to be?
Yeah, so the guys, we've got a website, AnnapolisSoccer.com, and fans can go on the website and vote for 4 logos. And like you said, there's the Kraken one. There's the Yard FC.
Are Kraken indigenous to Maryland, Alex? Do we know that?
You know what? The Kraken one was just kind of this offshoot, like, hey, this brand, this logo is absolutely killing it. So let's throw it out there and see if it could gain any traction. That was kind of our one-off fun one that just really was just kind of out there. But Yard FC, a good homage to, the Naval Academy and them calling the campus the Yard. The blues with the crab. And then what's the other one? Anyway, Hitch not being from Maryland, I kind of had felt that the crab, has a lot of pull in Maryland, especially Annapolis. And I kind of felt that one would pull through. Everyone kind of thought something else would, but I think that one's in the lead. I think the crab's in the lead, which is no surprise to me. But guys have till, I believe it's end of July to go on the website and vote for what they want their logo to be in Annapolis.
Okay, because now, and this is I know this is going to make fantastic radio here. I'm sitting here looking at AnnapolisSoccer.com. So I have gone there. The Seawolves is, so you have the Seawolves Soccer Club, you've got Yard FC, you've got the Kraken, and you have Blues FC with a rather large crab that is sporting a soccer ball at 12 o'clock. AnnapolisSoccer.com/vote. You can choose among the Seawolves, Yard FC, the Kraken, or Blues FC when it comes to everything. And of course, me being me, and once again, I know this won't translate well to an audio sense, but in Office HD, there are scarves behind me, and there's a shop button for Annapolis Soccer. So I know that I am in serious trouble when it comes to all of the gear for Annapolis Soccer. So Alex, once again, congratulations on the launch. If there was a bottle of champagne, you sit there and you hit it on the side of the boat and it goes into the water. That's where you are right now with Annapolis Soccer and Annapolis coming into the NPSL. 2023 will be here sooner than we think, but thanks for hanging out with us to give us the 411 on what's going on. Congrats on the launch. We'll be keeping an eye on them.
Thank you so much, John.